Hello, Namaskar, Adab, Sasyakal, Kasakai, Kedohalai, Kem Cho. I am Abha Jadhav welcoming you all to your favorite talk show on YouTube, Spotlight with Abha. Friends, we have often heard about our body language, facial expressions, colors, sometimes types of clothes we wear tell about a person's thought process and different kind of personalities they have. But you will be amazed if I say your handwriting and signatures to express what is running in your mind. Yes, you heard me right. And today I have brought a young, pretty graphologist with defense background here who will throw more light on this. Are you all ready? Please help me welcome Major Neeti CJ into the spotlight. Welcome, Major Neeti.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's really an honor and a privilege for me to be part of this interesting show. I really love the name Spotlight with Abba. I really love it, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me here.
So, friends, I know you all are eagerly waiting to understand about handwriting and signature analysis. But before that, let me give you all a brief introduction about Major Neeti CJ. An army veteran, a second generation officer, Major Neeti CJ, is a qualified graphologist, a repurposepreneur with a vision to help people repurpose their handwriting into a potential life tool and a public speaker. She is also an amateur poet, writer, and a podcaster. She believes in assisting people in finding purposes utilizing her skills and military experience. Her skills include foundation, graphology, handwriting and signature analysis from Institute of Graphological Research, Mumbai. She has done courses on body language, public speaking, leadership, data privacy, and nonverbal communication from LinkedIn Learning. She has been an interpreter in Pashto language from School of Foreign Languages, New Delhi. Major Neeti CJ promotes the environmental and social benefits behind fountain pen writing. She has her own fountain pen club. Wow. The ink club to bring fountain pen collectors, users, artists on a single forum. Her aim and vision is to employ acquired skills and military experience by building a sustainable writing culture and make effective contributions towards youth development and nation building. Major Neeti, the more I read about you, the more it makes me curious to know you. So, definitely, my very first question is kindly share the beginning of your career journey, how it all started.
Firstly, ma'am, thank you so much. That was such a lovely introduction you gave to me. I'm humbled, and it was. Kaibana, when you listen to your own introduction, you think, "Oh my God, did you really do so much? Is it so impactful?" So, firstly, thank you for that. And I started this journey with the thought of joining the armed forces. It started not now. It was very. I was probably in eighth or ninth standard when I decided to join the armed forces, and that has been really those 10 years in the armed forces have been my the fulcrum, the foundation of what I am today, ma'am. So yes, so it started with this thought at the age of 13 or 14 in the school, and thereafter things started falling in place. I did my graduation and post graduation in microbiology. I was also an NCC cadet. I did NCC. I took a C certificate in with A grade there. Thereafter, I started appearing for the armed forces exams. First attempt, the written was never an issue. I cleared the written, but the interview took its own course to, you know, it took its own course to succeed the interview. I cleared the SSB, the Service Selection Board, in the third attempt, and thereafter, 2010, I got commissioned into the army, and 10 years I tried to contribute in the best possible manner to the organization, and this has been the fulcrum of my vision, that you have to continue that contribution to your nation, to your society, to your coming generation. And through the journey as an army officer also, we are involved in a lot of writing, where written expression, your speaking expression, everything plays a very vital role, and you create impact through these skills of yours. And I said, okay, why not take it to a level where I help people associate with their handwriting, and then thereafter they can use it as a tool for themselves in taking decisions in life, whether it is professionally, personally, what they have to do, what are the choices. And I took the certification in graphology last year. I utilized the COVID period for this, that uh, I take up a certification. I have been into handwriting analysis and trying to understand nonverbal communication in a little way when I was in the services, because it was one of the requirements in the field I was. So all this helped up, and I thought of creating this venture by the name The Ink, where I look into helping people with self-assessment through graphology as a tool. So there are many life coaching tools, ma'am. You must be aware as a educationist. There is NLP. There are narrative practices, and there is psychology, psychological tools in different ways. That's where I thought that, okay, graphology is an aspect which needs to be looked into. With so much digitization around, people have lost association to handwriting. They have lost the relevance it holds. They feel it's not relevant, but it does hold relevance, irrespective, even if you don't write a word a day, but you still have it there. It's somewhere there. You still write. You still put this activity to use in some or the other way. So there is a handwriting. Come what may. You write, you don't write. There is a handwriting of everyone. You just need to acquire the knowledge of scripts, the knowledge of alphabets, and there you are. There is you will definitely bring out your individual self through these letters. So this was my journey, and my focus has been the same. That it doesn't. It is not that going 360 degrees that most people think that ye kaise ye turn aa gaya, but it's not a turn. It's actually a step forward. Whatever I acquired, whatever my seniors, my learnings have been in the army, I thought, why not take it into the society in this way?
Wow. How sweetly you have expressed that this journey was so much inspiring for your whole career, which has take to even in you have opted for this graphology after your this defense retirement. Then also that you related you what I say ki, totally you have merged it into your focus. You have focused on your aim and vision, what you have actually had since beginning. So I just want to ask one thing before I take a deep dive in graphology. That being a woman, of course, what kind of experience you had in army?
Um, in fact, thank you so much, ma'am, for bringing this question. I just finished an Instagram live with one of the speakers, and we were just talking about there's something called as officer-like qualities, which are assessed when you go for the service selection board. And one of the viewers asked that, ma'am, what are the qualities that a female should have or a woman should have to be in the armed forces? And she gave a very beautiful reply. She said, The mere fact that it is called as officer like qualities and not just female like or male like qualities um, brings out the perspective that the institution sees you as an officer, and your gender has a very, very minimalistic role, probably just to uh, I would say some superficialities like the attire at times, and maybe your living locations will be a little different. That is all the whatever is basic requirement, biologically, what is the basic requirements that differentiate us, except barring those things. I think so. The organization looks up to you as an officer, and if you have that mindset, and I was fortunate that I had such trainers in the academy, such instructors in the academy, who focused on us as individuals rather than as women or men, and they were instrumental in inculcating those qualities into us. So that has never been a limiting factor for me in any way. I think so. It's a more empowering factor that as women, we have certain qualities very naturally to us, like compassion, understanding people. Our sixth sense, we are intuitive, we are naturally intuitive. And हमें पता चल जाता है कि something going to happen. I don't think so. This is right. So all this have only added to my individual self to so that I can contribute in a better manner for the organization.
Definitely, I was in NCC when I was in college, and I also passed the C certificate exam, and I truly agree
Wow.
that even I did not took my participation further in army, but still those 3 years of my college time, those 3 NCC years of my college time has inculcated so much of discipline in my life. And yes, I truly agree that creates an officer kind of qualities in a female, rather than being completely a feminine part of the society. That officer quality and the love for the country, to sacrifice, to give something to the society and to the nation, that comes due to being in this army section or a part of army or defense of your country. So yes, more power to women. Yes. Now coming to this graphology, what inspired to take graphology as a career?
I think so, ma'am. The answer to this is I read somewhere. I think so. It's from the book Ikigai by Hector Garcia, where he says that one never retires if you're passionate about what you're doing, and I think so that holds true to my mindset towards graphology also, towards my whole contribution, irrespective if it is graphology or public speaking, whatever it is, towards this entire thing, that the vision which I have kept for myself, a goal for myself. Passion plays a very important role, and for me, it's personally, it's very important for me to relate to things to get into doing those things. So, so graphology, I think so. I chose passion over a career. So that's what makes me happy, and I'm happy that I'm able to contribute more effectively, because had I settled down for anything lesser, anything where I'm just picking up a job again and just looked at achieving those superficial goals which we keep for ourselves. We should have a good house, good bank balance, and all those things. Then I'm very sure a person like me, I feel that I won't be doing justice to myself, to my soul, and that's why I thought that okay, this has been my passion. Let me get on to this. Let me strengthen my passion into a career option, into into an option of entrepreneurship, into an option where uh, services are available to people, and with professionalism and expertise. So that's how graphology came into place.
I truly agree, and I appreciate your decision of taking passion into as a career. Because most of the time it happens, especially in our Indian society, you might be aware that mostly females, they always compromise on everything.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
kill their passions, they kill their hobbies, they kill their own choices and likes. Somewhere inside, they just they store somewhere in the corner, and they keep regretting throughout the life कि अरे
Correct,
मैं भी
correct, ma'am.
कभी मैं भी ऐसा करती थी, काश मैंने ये कर लिया होता, काश मैंने वो कर लिया होता. But what happens, there are very few females I see in Indian society who actually choose passion over any other thing. So again, more power to women. So yes, now coming to this graphology, I'm really surprised that how can handwriting and signature reflect personality of anyone? How is it possible?
Uh, a very simple answer to this query, ma'am. I'll try to put it in a very simple manner that we humans we have this tendency of finding patterns and links in everything. We are very logical beings. When we watch clouds, we see shapes in that. We try to understand shapes in that. um, um, when we see random things, we random situations, we try to find link between that. We try to see, is there a pattern in it? इसके पीछे कोई तो कारण होगा. You know, every time we say this, there has to be some reason behind this. I fail to understand when we are people who appreciate abstract paintings, we appreciate abstract music. Why is it not uh, easy for us to understand that handwriting is an activity wherein your neural skills, your motor skills, your physiological self, your physical self, your biological self, your expressions, your emotions, everything is involved. How can we negate that this thing can ever have an impact on us or can ever bring out the true us? So this is the thing I wanted to um, uh, bring out, that our handwriting is something not which is abstract. Yes, the process is like, our understanding of, you are a teacher, you are a principal, right? An educationist, you understand this very nicely, that बच्चों को in the childhood we teach them shapes, we
Something like
teach
sleeping
them.
line.
Yes, standing line, sleeping line, and that they turn into, then we teach them random numbers, alphabets. They don't understand the meaning of them. Then we start associating that for them. A for apple, B for ball. Okay, one bird, two birds. Like that, we try to help them relate to these abstractness. And thereafter we help them to make words out of this, and then those words we say, okay, make a sentence using apple. So the child says, I had an apple a day, so it's adding meaning to it. And then we teach them purpose. When they go to senior classes, we teach them how to write a letter to civilian, letter to this person,
Principal
letter to
letter.
that person. Yes. So we teach them different forms of letter. So all this is adding a purpose to your writing, your written expression. So when we are doing all this, we are creating a memory in their mind that turns this abstractness into a purpose. And in this process, handwriting has been a very contributory factor. It has been one of the most important factor. When you are doing this, when you are putting things to a purpose, your subconscious self starts playing on it in a big way, where your thoughts, whatever you're putting on the paper, come from the subconscious self. Whatever you read and write it down, you are feeding back things to your subconscious self. So there's a lot of feeding we do from our environment, from our writing to our brain, and there's this constant input output taking place. So this is why handwriting can tell you about your subconscious self, your emotions, your expressions, your intelligence quotients, your aptitude, your attitude. How will you behave with your family? How do you behave with your colleagues? How what is your mindset about your profession? What is your mindset about your personal life? What are you? How organized are you? And such abilities. Are you a risk taker? Are you an opportunist? Are you um, are you a leader, or are you just a follower? Are you creative? Are you not creative? And so on and so forth. So all these things subconsciously, unknowingly comes into your writing. And as told in Johari Window, there are many things which you know that others don't know. There are many things that others know about you which you don't know. And there are some things which you both know about the self, and there are things that both don't know about the self. So graphology hits at that both don't know about the self, where neither people are aware of it, nor we as individuals are aware of it. So that self awareness is addressed in handwriting analysis. Um, when a thought can change our facial expression, when somebody's response to our question, or somebody's behavior can affect our verbal expression, when somebody's behavior can affect our body language, how is it possible that it is not going to affect the written expression? It will
This is
definitely
really
have an impact.
this is really really amazing. I didn't think this handwriting and signatures must be having so much of impact. And
Yes.
I truly agree that in different scenes, in different scenarios, our handwriting changes. Sometimes when
Yeah.
we are in a relaxed mode, we are happy, we write in a very good handwriting. It happens with
Yes.
me very often.
Yes.
While making notes,
Yes.
our handwritings are different. When I am talking to someone, and some, even it changes from conference to conference also. So
Yes.
yes,
You
now
write
I
a
can relate
greeting
to
card.
see.
You write a greeting to a friend, or you write a letter to a friend. Your handwriting will be more flowery. You will make some round circles, some doodles, some this and that. So that joy that comes out through your writing, and that is why writing gives that connection to people instead of typing, because people might not be analysis, like professional analysis, but as humans we do assess on these parameters. How do we come to know when a letter reaches us? How do we come to know this person is in trouble without even reading that? Many a time it happens with us that we don't even read the letter, and we know, yeah, this person is in trouble. That is your unknown part of you, which tells you that yes, that this handwriting is showing the pain of someone. So this is why, ma'am, even if you are not a trained graphologist, we pick up signals from the handwriting, and this goes missing in the text form. We don't understand the gravity of the situation if we get into texting. Signature is a different aspect, where handwriting is the subconscious mind playing. The signature is a more conscious choice which you make, but again that is fed by your experiences, your attitude, your subconscious mind only. That is again fed by that. We get impressed by seeing a teacher's handwriting, and we try to imitate it. Okay, I want this part of it in my signature. We design the signature. If you would have noticed that, especially school mein jab 10th ka, when you have to fill the form, that's the first time I think so most of the Indian children, they pick up creating a signature for themselves. And that signature is again impacted by the experiences the child has had till that age. Those experiences, those attitudes toward things which it has developed, those the things that it has been able to understand, that further turns into a signature. And that is why it is said that, you can always, as a graphologist, you can always advise people to work on their signature, because it's a more conscious decision uh, taken by people. And you will see that people, that you see handwritings changing, like it's like expression, so definitely there will be a change. But there are people who change their signature also over a period of time, and that's where the subconscious element in the signature comes into play. Because you know for yourself, do you need a certain support now? Are you particular about certain things? Are you still as ambitious as you were 10 years back? So all those things start flowing into. So I ask people, what do you sign? They say, "Pata nahi, I used to sign something else when I was 13, but now it's like I don't know what happened." It has to evolve, because you are evolving as an individual, and that itself is an evidence that your handwriting is your part of your personality.
This is really a new kind of science I'm listening to right now. So definitely being an educationist, being a school principal, now comes like I want to ask question for my favorite sector, that is students. So how can this handwriting, analysis or working on handwriting can work for student?
Um, I was having a discussion with one of my friends, and in fact today itself, yeah. So he made a very important mention. He said that, Nidhi, he's part of the club, and he said that, "Nidhi, I'm so happy that I'm getting back to writing. It is adding so much positivity to what I'm doing now." Um, and he said a very rudimentary thing. He said, "Nidhi, somewhere being in the group, I've become conscious of one fact, that what am I giving to my coming generation? What am I going to give to my daughter?" And that's where I feel that if I could give her, I would like to give her four skills, and that is reading, communication, listening skills, and writing skills. So, if we as parents, if we understand that these four are actually the life skills, and very soon I'm already in process of planning a project to go deeper into this and see that how I can give to students these four skills through handwriting, which is very much possible, because all these four skills can be associated to writing certain letters in the handwriting. If you work on the ideal way of writing certain letters, you can achieve these four skills. So, yes, ma'am. So that's what. So, children, I'm not telling students, you cannot just cut off from the digital era. You just can't do that now. We have come a long way in the digital era, and it is being irrational if we say that, okay, let's completely switch off and go back to the dark age. No, that doesn't work. This doesn't um, appreciate evolution. So what we can do is to moderate our digital exposure, to moderate the impact of digital exposure, where we, honestly telling you, because social media is another forte I have been looking into. I'm doing my research in this subject, online radicalization, why, what impacts us online. um, that's where I feel that writing can contribute to overcome the hazard of this intolerance, this impulsiveness, this anxiety which digital exposure creates. I myself, when I see that, I many times think that, okay, nay, I have to cut down on my digital exposure. But the kind of you will understand, ma'am, when we are into a life coaching kind of thing, you have to be a constant motivator. There should be a constant feed to people, a constant push, gentle, constant push through thoughts, through activities, through so many things. You can't cut down on that. But yes, with handwriting, you can moderate it. And definitely, if your writing skills improve, if your handwriting improves, um, your reading skills will improve, your um, communication skills will improve. If you write with clarity, you're building a better thought. It will create questions. Those questions will get answers when you read books on those subjects, and that knowledge will help you speak on that subject, and that again will make you a better seeker. It will make you a better learner. So definitely, handwriting can be is a very good potential tool to have an overall development for children. And if you start young, nothing like it. We say that 13 years is the age that handwriting, um, by 13 years the handwriting completely develops. So we can address the development from the age of 4 to 5, because 4 to 5 is when the motor skills start developing in children. So if you make them do those motor activities, you make them do uh, activities to uh, improve their neural skill, I'm very sure that they will be able to achieve more through their handwriting. And best age, why we say that learning is easier at a younger age and why it gets difficult as a bigger age. It's something like swimming, कि आप एक छोटे बच्चे को you can put it in the swimming pool. There's no fear of uncertain in that. There's no apprehension, no inertia in children. It's difficult to make elders understand, but it's easier to make children understand, and you don't have to make them understand also. So I think so it will be a very good tool if children get into this. It's a culture. It's one of the oldest form of communication. Uh, if we kill that, we are killing innovation. We are killing out of box thoughts, because the kind of innovations you can do by writing down rather than by typing a book, you are actually bringing out the creative side of you. You are connecting to what you are doing. There's a connection. The virtuality ends when you write.
Absolutely, absolutely. So definitely now, the students will understand that why teachers, they are always behind them to improve the
Yes.
handwriting, because it will definitely improve their thought process also, and it will improve the other skills also. So now
Yes.
taking a little shift from handwriting, again this thing is connected to writing only, and this part is somewhere favorite part of mine. So I am very much interested to know the answer for this question. That you are promoting various benefits behind fountain pen writing in
Yes.
current
Yes, ma'am.
scenario where people have already thrown the fountain pen aside. They are very much fond of gel pens and pilot pens and ball pens, ballpoint pens. So in this uh, current scenario, how can fountain pen survive? Means what are you all doing about this fountain pen writing? Can you please elaborate on this?
Sure, ma'am. So the first step which I took was that to understand the functioning of fountain pen, to understand how it is scientifically affecting us in building our handwriting, and that is precisely the reason that fountain pen is called a writing instrument. There's a lot of science behind how the fountain pen works. You are yourself a fountain pen user. And yes, so Then I moved on to, so last year I found the club. I got people, I got like-minded people on the group, and we keep doing activities uh, in a creative manner so that people love being part of the group. There's a sense of belongingness in them. And fountain pen itself is because it is a rarity. The community building becomes easier and stronger. Um, then the second step was, the first step was, okay, let me first get into understanding this, that what are the different parameters of fountain pen usage. So there are users, there are enthusiasts, there are hobbyists who collect fountain pen collectors, and then there are people who we call as they just accumulate, like people who like to accumulate dresses, but they are not actually fashion designers, but they like to do that. So casual collectors, what I term them as. So when I understood that, okay, these are the general category of people in fountain pen collection. And then there are critiques. There are very serious critiques in fountain pen world, ma'am, and they are brutal. They can bring down a product. They can just surge the sale of a product. They are like that. When I understood the dynamics, understood the science behind it, understood how it socially brings people together, understood how the creative dimension of it is. Last year, during the World Tiger Day, the World Wide Fund organized an event where we had to contribute artwork in the form of sketches, posters, poetry, or a write-up, whatever, to Worldwide Fund, World Wildlife Fund. Sorry. So in that event, the first prize winner was again a digital creator, and he used the ink pen to create the entire thing. And I got a consolation in that event, and at that time I was not connected with this individual who won the prize, and I was already into fountain pens, so I used ink to create the poster and then to write the poem. So there were these things that I thought that, you know I can use to in a different manner. Like who will think that?
So in that event, I realized the worth of creating art, where you can create art using certain tools, and they are very subtle indicators to come to appreciate a cause. And there we were for World Tiger Day. We were talking about how to save tigers, and the best way is environment. Save the environment. So fountain pens, the material they use, the inks are made with natural materials. You will be amazed, the carbon emission from ballpoint pens is so high. We don't know how much we are creating nuisance out of that. And when it comes to ballpoint pen usage, there is the refills. And these refills are the biggest and most significant contributors to the plastic which goes in landfills. So that's when I was like, okay, now there are these environmental concerns which fountain pens can address. And I thought that, okay, how do I align this? So I did my research on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 goals in that the UN has laid down, and it aims at achieving by 2030. I said, okay, as a small little community, how can we do that? I said, okay, why not encourage people to use fountain pen? It has got individual benefits. There are health benefits which you can achieve. Fountain pen can treat blood pressure. If somebody gets into fountain pen writing, and they have blood pressure issues, it can cure them. So that's the kind of impact, health benefits also that fountain pen writing has. So I thought that, okay, now that I have a club in place, now that I'm using handwriting as a life tool to people, I said, okay, now how do we repurpose this entire writing thing? And that's where the repurpose, that is WRI, purpose, that concept came into play. And I said, okay, write with a purpose, create, repurpose your handwriting and give a purpose to it. And you will be able to contribute towards so many things: environmental concerns, individual enhancement, as a life tool, all this, and bring everything together. And that's how my venture further transition, and I further transitioned myself from just being a graphologist to a repurpose. And I have and under this repurpose mission, I have laid down somewhere 50 odd um, goals and 50 odd ways we can achieve repurposing our handwriting. And I've started a YouTube series on this where I say write it right with Neeti. And in this write it right with Neeti, I try to bring out these aspects, these 50 odd ways you can contribute to the society, to your country, to the environment, to yourself through handwriting.
That was really fantastic, Neeti. I really appreciate the purpose behind creating this club of based on fountain pen collectors, fountain pen writers. This has really become rare. Even if people see me using fountain pen here, they laugh at me. Ma'am, you're still using this pen? Who's using nowadays now? Don't you feel a little strange to write with that? I said, I have always used this pen. Sometime it happens that, okay, the pen, the ink gets over and I don't have any other pen with me. Then I have to use a ballpoint pen. That's a different scenario, but I always keep 2-3 pens with me in that case. But it has really become rare. And today's generation, I think they have not seen the fountain pens. They don't know actually how it, writes. Flair writing with a fountain pen. And after seeing me writing with the fountain pen, they have started using fountain pen, and then they come to, ma'am, it's really a good feeling. So maybe somewhere the emotions you are talking about behind writing must be getting affected because of this fountain pen also. That is what I believe. So this brings us to the end of the program, though I'm really very much keen to know more and more about now all these things. So definitely I'm going to approach you personally now. I'm going to harass you on this. So my last question for this show is, I would like you to give some special tips on writing, especially for students as exams are on the edge now.
Yes. With exam being there, I know there's a lot of syllabus which needs to be studied, but to develop a writing habit, it will also help them to improve their memory on a subject, ma'am. It will help them to understand the subject better. So if they are not into much of writing, the best way to do this is whatever you read, an answer, a question, whatever you read, try to jot down the points, the important points. Just jot down into a list form. It's a very good way. Listing down is a very good way of remembering things. And definitely that's why our elders and they remember every phone number because they used to jot down. Very important thing is try to use the same pen which you are going to use for the exam. Try to practice writing with the same pen. That's a good way of making your handwriting more legible. I won't say switch to fountain pen because even if you do now, it's not going to be that easy for children. But at the same time, in the exam, because the paper is of a different quality, so switching to fountain pen will definitely not work for them because the paper will blot the whole ink. Their answers and their efforts go for a waste. So maybe go for a better option, a more soft writing ball pen rather than a gel pen, because gel pen and micro tips are again very pointed, ma'am, and they put stress. The more pointed thing you use, the more stress you develop on you. Best is when you are practicing, either you go for graphite pencils, because graphites are again soft. Either you practice writing with graphite pencil, practice your answers with that, or the best thing is that you switch to that pen which you will be using for the exam. And when you're using, use more rounder tipped pens rather than very fine tipped pens, because it's again putting a lot of pressure on your brain and your nerves. So maybe a better option now. I'm actually clueless on ballpoint pens. I really don't know which are the better options. So you can see the ones with 1 mm. Sorry, I think so. Yeah, 1 mm plus. They work better. Don't go for 0.7 mm, because again it's very pointed. 1 mm plus works better. Second tip would be do daily. Consistency is the key. So if you write daily, if you practice daily, it is a very good way of connecting with your handwriting and connecting your thoughts with your memory. So you have to be doing that daily. It's a commitment. When you write, you are doing a commitment to yourself. This was told by Brigadier Bhasin in one of the interviews with me. And when I had invited sir to speak about writing, this is what he said, that it's a commitment you are doing to yourself when you write down things. So that's why it matters. So this is the second suggestion. I'll tell them that do it daily. Consistency is the key. Enjoy the process. It is beautiful. If you will have good writing skills, it will be really, really amazing. It is only going to benefit you. I know you might feel that itne time mein to I could have read 2 answers. But 2 answers you read and you remember with just 50% memory. You read one answer, you write one answer and create 80% memory of it. Which one is a better score? 50-50 in both answers, or you 80% in one answer? So yeah. So that is what one needs to see. That too 50-50 is our assumption you will get. The teacher might give you much lesser than that. So that is what I want children to look at. There is something called as mind mapping, where you can just draw diagrams to remember that, okay, if this topic comes, how do I write? Especially essay writing, because there you have to write an answer extemporally. So in that case, write the topic in the center. Even you can do it in exam if time permits. Quickly write the topic in the center. Take out few tentacles and write down, okay, this is the thing, this is the aspect I have to cover, this is I have to cover. And you have the thing, okay, you've structured your answer, that come what may, I have to cover these heads in every essay of mine. It's ready for you. That pen template is ready for you. You have de-stressed yourself by creating that for yourself. And in many subjects like science and all, it is just, you can always structure your answer that, okay, I have to first write this. There are set patterns for it. And yeah, you'll be good to go. Practice makes perfect.
Thank you so much, Niti, for these tips. And I'm 100% sure that this is going to help all the students who will be watching this program, and they will be definitely excelling. Of course, they will be excelling with their good answers in their answer sheets, but at the same time, writing those answers in good handwriting, the way you have mentioned, the way they will be learning with the help of your tips, will definitely help them to add some more percentage to overall excellence of their score. So thank you very much for being here on this platform and guiding all my students on handwriting, plus elaborating our knowledge about graphology, handwriting, and signatures. So Friends, if you have any queries about writing or signature analysis, you can connect to Major Neeti. Her coordinates are given below in the description box. And to watch more episodes of Spotlight with Abha, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel and please do press the bell icon nearby. So, thank you, Major Neeti, for giving your valuable time and sharing your insights on this platform.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Entirely my pleasure.
Hey, but it's time to say bye bye. But please do not go out without mask. Do take very good care of yourself. Do follow all the corona guidelines given by the government to be safe. And yes, don't forget to get vaccinated. I got it done, and believe me, it's safe. So throw away all the myths from your mind and approach to nearest COVID center and take the vaccine. So till then, we'll be seeing you in the next episode of Spotlight with Abha. See you then. Bye bye.